Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United travelling to Turf Moor against Burnley in the Premier League. Joining me for the preview, as always, is Mr. Joe Smith. Joe, it's been a quiet week, hasn't it, bro?
Yeah. The last game was a big one. We didn't even know it. I mean, I guess you did say it, so maybe you knew something we didn't.
I knew it was. I said this is the big one, and people doubted me, and yet it was Ruben Amorim's last game.
It sort of feels bigger now than it did at the time, which isn't what no one wants to hear. Let's be honest.
It's something we've both heard many times.
It's a text message we've all received. No, but that turned out to be the big one, and this undoubtedly is a big one. Darren Fletcher, a new dawn at Manchester United.
Yes.
Maybe even a short dawn, depending on how long he's here for. But yeah, it's a big game. This.
It is a big game, and this isn't surprising that Darren Fletcher's taken over. A lot of us may be surprised that Ruben Amorim's no longer manager. I think we thought he would be for at least the next few weeks even. Yeah. But Darren Fletcher coming in kind of makes sense. Most clubs, when they get rid of a manager, tend to just promote from within, at least for the next couple of games.
Yeah.
We saw Chelsea do it at the weekend. But, you know, most clubs do it. It's sort of par for the course. And I think a lot of us, we've spoken about on the channel, said that if Ruben Amorim does get sacked, you can see Darren Fletcher stepping in and then the club looking for someone a bit more long-term, which is what we expect to happen. Fletcher is someone who gets Manchester United, knows Manchester United. He came through the academy, played a lot of first team games. He's regarded a club legend, and has coached at Manchester United, has been part of the coaching setup, has been part of the under-18s, the academy setup as well. He's got 2 kids that play for United. He is Mr. Manchester United, really, isn't he?
Associated with the club if he tried, could he?
No, he's basically Fred the Red.
How old was he when he joined Manchester United?
I'm guessing 8.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's certainly, he was in the first team picture when he was like 14. 15,
yeah, I mean he's from Scotland, so I doubt he was 8. But he was a youngster. He came through the academy. And one thing I always liked about Darren Fletcher, right? I remember many years ago where Fletcher came into the team, was played at right wing, and fans used to be on his case a little bit. Fergie's love child and all that. He's only in the team because he's Scottish and all that sort of nonsense. And it wasn't his fault. He was being played out of position, and he was very young. And he just sort of battled and kept going and became essential to United by one point. Yeah. So the point where when he got sent off, and I think it was in the semi-final of the Champions League in 2009, so he missed the final, people looked at that as the reason we lost to Barcelona, because he was such an important part of that midfield.
He'd been so good for that spell, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and he obviously is an absolute sort of hero at United, and it'd be interesting to see how we shape up, how we line up. I can assume almost with 100% certainty it's not going to be a 5 at the back. I think that we're going to see more kind of attacking, probably slightly less rigid football. I don't know what he's like tactically. From some of the stuff I've seen, he does seem to be a little bit kind of more of an inspirational manager than a kind of tactical, mathematical manager. Some of the stuff he's spoken about showing the youngsters clips of Wayne Rooney and Park Ji-sung and Ronaldo, sort of old, goals from the past and ways to counter-attack and get forward quickly, implies to me he's going to give them a bit of a pep talk and tell them how to play rather than exactly what to do on the pitch. I think for an interim that's perfect. What would you expect him to do? Come in and bring a dense tactical vision in 40 hours? No. That would be impossible and stupid. I think he's the perfect type of manager to bring in on short notice. Sorry.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. We've had it before, haven't we? We had it. People always get about Solskjaer. That was slightly different because he was caretaker and obviously ended up staying for a few years. But if you look at what Giggs did when he first came in as a caretaker, I think initially, I know it didn't, those 4 games, I think we ended up losing at home to Sunderland in one of them. But we had that initially, I think, good performance. You look at what Michael Carrick did when he was short-term manager, in that 4-game spell. You look at what Ruud van Nistelrooy did. It's just someone who comes in and knows the club, gets the crowd buzzing again, sort of settles things down, and can just bring back that sort of United factor that's maybe been missing from the previous regime. And like you said there, he does like to play that sort of attacking football. He's spoken about it. He's referenced those players you referenced as well. And just as well, a bit of an update, he joined United when he was 11.
11 years old.
I've just been told there.
Brilliant.
So he's been at United forever.
Yeah.
Me and you were chatting earlier, and you said about how this isn't a free hit.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to play for this season. Last season when Ruben Amorim came in, which was ironically about the same time as this season, or a bit earlier, wasn't it? It was actually, was it like October, November? Yeah. But we sort of went, after a few games, we kind of wrote the season off, didn't we? Well, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
This time feels different because United are still in with a good chance of Champions League football. We have got a decent squad. I know it's not perfect, but it's decent. We've got players to come back from injury. We've got players to come back from the AFCON. You look at it and you go, actually, there's still a lot to play for. So in that respect, this isn't a game where you go, it doesn't really matter. It's a free hit.
Yeah, I don't want that to be the case. I don't want it to just be accepted that this season is done with.
No.
The FA Cup hasn't even started yet, so that's clearly not done. And in the league, we're level on points with Chelsea. We're 3 points behind Liverpool, who are fourth.
Yeah.
You know, to imply that this season is done would be absolute madness. And for once in the last three, wouldn't it be nice if the new manager came in and made us better? You know, we got rid of Solskjaer, brought in Rangnick, got worse. We got rid of Ten Hag, brought in Amorim, and it got worse. There's no need for that to necessarily be the case. When we brought Solskjaer in, as we did, you know, before after Jose, things got way better. Now, we had been sort of ground down, and there was a real hatred, I think, for Jose in that dressing room from certain players that maybe allowed them to sort of respond as quickly as they did. But there's no reason to assume that we should just, or to accept even, that we should just, well, this season's over and done with now, might as well let Fletcher and might as well let the players just have a laugh. Like, I'm not saying he is going to do that, he won't do that. No. But as fans, I think we should say, the target should still be top 4 or top 6 or, you know, European football. And in the press release when they sacked Ruben Amorim, they said they were getting rid of him for the best chance of a good finish this season. So let's show that. Yeah. Let's not give up on it because the manager's sacked. It's not going to be the best season we've ever had, obviously. But I don't see why European football or even challenging for Champions League football should be off the menu now, personally. If anything, if the manager's so bad, surely a new manager should come in and get those things.
Yeah, it was kind of one of the things that we all sort of fell into last season where we went, oh, well, it was a write-off. You think, well, it wasn't really. We just sort of made it a write-off. Almost to the point where, how can it be a write-off when we end up in a Europa League final? We could have ended up with Champions League football, despite all the problems we have. And we all sort of went, okay, you know, let's sort of forget about that. But now, there's a lot of football left to play. We're still in the mix for Champions League football, so we should certainly go for it. Now, just want to stress, before we get to Predict 11s and before we ask you to send in your score predictions, we are recording this before Ruben Amorim's... Ruben Amorim.
Oh. You said his ex's name.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
Not Ruben Amorim anymore, is he?
Stupid. Sleeping in the shed again. No, before Darren Fletcher's press conference, so we don't know what he said. We imagine that he hasn't said anything too dramatic, but we don't know quite know where we're up to with certain injury updates, so we're having to sort of play it a little bit safe with our predicted 11s. By all means, get involved in the chat and the comments and let us know where we went wrong. But before we get into that,
not just get into the chat and the comments, send in your prediction videos to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. Just like this, send a video of yourself into paddockmatchday@gmail.com. How you think the game's going to go, what you think the scoreline's going to be, and we put them all together, feature them at the start of the watch long. And as well, we've had people send in predictions and then come into the studio and be part of the channel as well, coming on previews and all sorts. So if you send them in, there's always a chance of that as well. paddockmatchday@gmail.com.
Good stuff.
Lovely.
Joseph, let's start with you. Give us your predicted 11 for the trip to Burnley.
4 at the back, obviously. I think what the job of an interim manager is to lift the mood. Almost as much as winning games, lifting the mood, and hopefully one comes with the other.
Yep.
In order to do that, you correct the things that, whether they were wrong or just perceived to be wrong about the previous regime, you correct them. 4 at the back is imperative. It would be stupid not to, and I think he would be... It's an easy win to do this, so he's going to do it. So I think it'll be Lomans, Dallo, Heaven, Martinez and Shaw. Maybe Yoro, Martinez and Shaw. But I think he'll go with Heaven. Then I think Casemiro and Ugarte keep the place because they make the most sense in there. Yeah. And Ugarte actually did a pretty decent game the other day. Then I've taken a couple of punts. I think the other win you can do, especially as an academy player yourself, especially when one of the other narratives about Ruben Amorim was that he's not trusting youth, he's not putting his faith in them. I think playing Shea Lacey would be a great way to show everyone things are different now, and we're going to focus on the positives rather than, you know, dwelling on the time before.
Okay, I get that. I understand where you're coming from, and that could happen.
Plus. Yeah. I've also gone with Mainu in there, and again, that's where I've taken a bit of a punt on fitness.
Yeah.
Amorim did mention the other day that Mainu and or Bruno might be back for this one, so again, it's another one. It's a tap in. but Mainu not playing was one of the big things that people didn't like about Ruben Amorim. Let's just do as many things as you can to put smiles on people's faces as possible. I think that's the job of an interim manager. So Lacey, Mainu and Cunha in behind Benjamin Sesko. A little bit of a risk with Mainu, but I think other than that, those things would be a good idea for him. And I still think give you a very good chance of winning the game, personally.
Yeah, no, I think that's a strong team. Listen, I wouldn't be complaining if Mainu was fit and he started. I certainly wouldn't be complaining if Shea Lacey got the nod. I think he's a very, very talented footballer. And like you said there, Darren Fletcher, who knows that academy, who knows what Lacey's about, would be more than up for giving him a start if he's fit and ready. I've got a little bit more cautious, though. I've taken a punt. I think our teams are the same, except I've put Xerxes in where Lacey is.
Yeah.
The only thing I think with the whole sort of putting starting Lacey, I get it. I just wonder away from home, you just maybe want to settle things down a little bit. Do you go a little bit more safe? Do you just go a little bit like, let's start the experienced player in Joshua Xerxes rather than the youngster who's, I think, yet to start in the Premier League? Bruno Fernandes, I'm taking a punt. He's going to be fit. We don't know. He might not be. Just like you and me. We could have both gone either way. We'll find out, or you'll know by the time you're watching this, whether Bruno Fernandes is available. If he is available, he will start. If not, then it might be Mainu, or maybe even Mason Mount might be fit. We don't know as yet. So we're taking a bit of a punt. So by all means, let us know whether you agree, disagree, whatever. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let's talk about Burnley.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of said this ahead of the Wolves game, but they're not very good, and they haven't been very good for basically the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly the last 11 games they haven't won. They have got a bit of a better record than Wolves because they've at least won some games. But this is a team that they're not out of the contention to stay up. They can still stay up.
They can.
It can. But they are having one, aren't they? They're in a bit of a bad spell, and you question whether they can get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we say they can stay up. They're as close to Wolves, who are the worst team ever, as they are to staying up.
Right.
They're 6 points from Forest and 6 points from Wolves.
Yeah.
So they're right in an awful time, to be honest. They're winless in their last 11 games. They're just really struggling. Even against Wolves, it took them a 95th minute winner.
Do you reckon they were fuming with us getting rid of the manager?
Yeah.
Do you reckon they were looking
probably fuming that when we drew with Wolves, so gave them a point, and then got rid of our manager
just before the Burnley game.
New manager bounce, if there is to be one. Again, it's just one of those. They're not particularly good. They're not good at all, really, are they?
No.
They're very bad, in fact. And if it weren't for Wolves having a historically terrible season, we'd be talking about these as, one of the worst teams or the worst team in the league. They're as bad as it gets, other than historically bad. So we've just got to win. I mean, they've got a couple of decent players, but they've got loads of injuries as well. And also, Hannibal, who plays for them.
I think he's back from AFCON, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he could
be back.
He could be in the team.
Former United player, of course, but they're just. I don't want to overcomplicate it. We need to beat them. They're not very good.
I think. Look, you have to be honest about who you're playing. And I'm not trying to downplay any Premier League team, but this is a Premier League team that is barely a Premier League team. So they can't give too many excuses to Darren Fletcher here. That it's a tricky ground turf more. Well, I'm not trying to get on Darren Fletcher's case, by the way, but this is a team you would expect Manchester United to be able to beat. It really is. So we'll have to wait and see. But with all that being said, give me your score prediction.
I do think we'll win. I don't think it's going to be quite as sort of steamrollery, good vibes are back type performance as we maybe expect, just because of the players we're missing. But I'm going to go 2-0. I think a fun, exciting, but not quite as controlling and dominant a 2-0 as we all hope for, but a good win nevertheless.
Do you know what? I completely agree with everything you've just said.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 3-0.
Slightly better though. Not completely agree with everything.
Yeah, I think that just that sort of thing with everyone in the dressing room, and sort of you get in there and it's like, new managers come in. We all know Darren Fletcher, good guy, we all like him. The cloud's been lifted. I'm not saying people didn't like Ruben Amorim, but there's been this speculation for so long that it's probably just one of those where it's just like, look, okay, the manager's gone, his coach has gone with him. Let's just try and move forward. Maybe get a couple of players back from injury. Playing a team that's struggling, it can just give you that little bit of bump. Johnny Evans as well is going to be there. who all the players will know because he played alongside him, pretty much all of them. And he's meant to be in the dugout as well is it Travis Binion.
Yes.
I don't know much about him. I'm not going to pretend I do, but it's a new coaching
Google
staff.
describes him as a former footballer and cricketer.
Was he Ian Botham?
Yeah.
He used to do that.
Back in the 1800s, they used to have that occasionally, didn't they? Triple threat.
I can't play the
Cricketer.
FA Cup final today. It clashes with the Ashes.
Yeah.
Like what?
No.
So look, it's a new dawn. We'll see if it's a new era. This might just be only like a couple of games for Darren Fletcher, but he'll certainly want to win his first game as Manchester United manager. It is exciting, and hopefully we can get a win. We need a win just because of the broader context there. We've had so many draws recently against teams we should have beaten. Another draw or even a loss just doesn't do us any good. We need a win, and hopefully we can get one. Go and check out Joe on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me as well. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. Don't forget as well to check out the merchandise. There's a link in the description. This has been a preview of Manchester United, or I should say Burnley versus Manchester United. The Darren Fletcher era begins. Thanks for watching.